Okay, I got a question for the Board of Education and maybe even politicians, if since a lot of them are defunding what was said was some of y'all defunded the education system. But I got a question. Um, if there is not a such thing as radical racism in school, even now, why do they teach us more about Christopher Columbus and George Washington, which are well-known slave masters, and Robert E. Lee, that's another one, rather than teach us about civil rights leaders like William Seward or Newton Knight? If people don't know who that is, I suggest Google. That's the question. If there isn't such a thing as radical racism, why do they teach us more about slave traders and slave masters and call them great leaders rather than teach us about the civil rights leaders who are the actual heroes of America? Why do they teach us more about white supremacist radicals and try to sugarcoat and make them seem like great leaders rather than teach us about the Black Panthers as well as the White Panthers, which has something to do with civil rights? Why they don't teach us about any civil rights internationally, even in textbooks? In schools, whether magnet school, private school, or public schools? This is a question I always want to ask half of my teachers while I was in school. But yeah, that was one of the questions. And I'm wondering, am I the only one that has this type of thinking? Whether you was a student, are a student, and I want to know, am I the only one who has this type of thinking when it comes to American schooling? No matter in the Southern District, Northern District, Eastern District, or Western District. I'm wondering why they taught us more about Jim Crow leaders and civil rights leaders. Was it radical white people's agenda to teach us radicalism in America, no matter what ethnicity? Those are questions that come up, especially since now it's been said and already documented and already stated mixed race exists. So I'm wondering, what was the agenda, excuse my French. What was the agenda, really? Because see, now in 2025, we're confused because there's a lot of people that's coming out radical. And we, in the middle, we learned civil rights. So we're on a confusing path, and we're being lied to, and we know it, but we don't know. Yeah, it's just plain out confusing. But that's basically the question, really. Why did, in the Board of Education, did they teach us more radical white people? Taught us more about radical white people than civil rights white people, or civil rights of any ethnicity, of every ethnicity. Why do we have to look for it? Why do we have to be like a rogue student? We couldn't just learn from the teachers. We had to rogue it out. We had to like go in the library and find the book. You know, we had to like look for it and search for it. That's the question that I want to know. Maybe others do, but that's one of them. Am I wrong for thinking like? I just want to know.